Erica here with Fibersandfloss Canada. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for your time that you spend. And I know our time is precious, and the choice to connect with me, I really appreciate that. If you're a new viewer, thank you for finding me. If you like and enjoy what you see, feel free to hit subscribe, and then you can catch future episodes. Today, because it is my first official Flosstube for January 2025, I thought I'd introduce myself a little bit. I know there's a lot of new subscribers since December, so it's a good opportunity to kind of recap. I did this a little bit on my 12 by 12 as well, but new year, new start. So I've been stitching for about 30 years. I first started stitching thanks to my mom, who is still a stitcher to today. We backpacked across Europe, and at that point she had bought me this little sunflower kit, and it was quite an experience. I think I relied on my mom a lot to get out my knots and that sort of thing. And then when I was about 14, so 13 when that had happened, and then about 14 I had met a lovely young lady. Her name was Samantha, and we just hit it off from there, and we've been best friends since. So we did actually do a lot of stitching as well. When we first met, I found out that she had spent the summer at her sister's, who, she's a little bit older than her, and she introduced her to her friend. Her roommate actually introduced her to cross stitch, and so I saw that Sam was cross stitching, and I thought, oh, I can do that too. And so that was, a common ground that we were able to participate in stitching together, and we still stitch together. So we are separated by quite a few kilometers, if you will. She's in Winnipeg, which is central Canada, and I am in Vancouver, which is on the west coast. So I almost said east coast. Maybe I need a coffee. So we've been, even though we have quite a distance between us, we're still close with our stitching, and it's something that we enjoy. And I have a group of friends here that we meet locally every Thursday, and some of us are stitching there or doing other crafts. And then I'm also getting to meet some other Flosstubers and local stitchers in the Vancouver area, and it's nice to have that connection as well. So stitching for about 30 years. Like I said, I live in Abbotsford, which is about 45 minutes out of Vancouver. I quite often will refer to Vancouver on my Flosstubes because I think a lot of people know where that is. If I say Abbotsford, nobody really knows where that is. So about 45 minutes out of Vancouver. I've been stitching for a long time. I use stitching as a form of meditation for myself and a form of creativity. I think with everything that we've learned about the world, and just the situations we find ourselves in, these overstimulating environments, life is very go, very busy. A lot of the stuff we're buying too is already purchased, and we're losing that sense of making stuff with a sense of purpose, being creative with our hands. I did do an episode end of 2023 or beginning of 2024 where I talked about a book that I had read. It's called All That We Want. It's about living in a materialistic world and really kind of seeking happiness, and we're not finding that happiness these days. And it's actually directly related to our loss of being creative with our hands and actually making things. So whether that making things is gardening or canning or woodworking or sewing clothes, knitting, and then create a purpose as well, right? So making works of art, that sort of thing. And we used to do a lot more of that, historically speaking, and that gives a lot of satisfaction, which leads to happiness and that sort of thing in life. So just trying to bring some of that back into my life. And at the start of 2024, I made a goal for myself to make sure that I had ability to stitch pretty much every day that I was not working. And for the most part, I think I did. In a month, there may be 2 days a month that I'm not stitching. And I'm happy I was able to do that. I think, I feel happier, I feel more accomplished, and of course I'm learning more, right? And I'm becoming a stronger stitcher throughout that. And then meeting the social connection component as well, just meeting different stitchers that are out there, a lot virtually, over the internet, but then also some in person. So brings a lot to me in my life. Personally, I'm married. I have 3 children with a lovely husband. We have a dog. Our kids are all almost teenagers now. We have a 17, 15, and 12. And so, you know, just because they're older, it gives me the ability to stitch a little bit more. Whereas we all know when our kids are young, there's nothing happening for ourselves, right? We just don't have time to, you know, even go to the bathroom in peace, never mind find time to stitch. So I'm happy I'm at a point in my life where I'm able to make some time for myself every day, which I do really appreciate. I'm quite grateful for. Yeah, so that is me. Now today what I'm gonna do is go through my usual floss tube. So if you're new here, what I do is cover any new starts, any whips, any finishes. I usually talk a little bit about community corner, which is where I talk about connection and things that we can do as a community. I also host Flosstubersity, and that's something that I haven't really done since the summer because we've been homeschooling our youngest, and so that does take a lot of my time, but I'm hoping that this year I'm going to put a focus on releasing at least 2 Flosstubersity episodes a month, and that is a shorter episode that talks about one particular skill that we can focus on to help better us as stitchers. So there's going to be 2 that I'm doing in the month of January. The one I'll be releasing next week is how to stitch faster, more efficiently. So I think a lot of people were asking for that information, so look forward to that. If you don't subscribe and you want to watch that video, make sure you subscribe so you get the notification. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to dive right into it. I mainly cover cross stitch, but sometimes I have a little other few crafts that I'm doing as well. And this week I have a pair of slippers that I've made that I'll share at the end. I also have 3 giveaways. One is a very special giveaway. It's a shawl made from alpaca from a local farm called Kensington Prairie Farm. So you guys don't want to miss that. It's valued at a fair bit of money and it's lovely. And then I have 2 other cross stitch patterns to give away as well. So that will be at the end of the video. Okay, so book of days, I always start off with this. This is something that Samantha got me into. This will be my 3rd year using it. And what I just tend to do is record every month. I have my whips and then I have what I work on in there. And then I decorate it with stickers. So I'm always looking for, you know, any really lovely sticker books. If you guys have any recommendations, please comment below and let me know. I think it's really fun to be able to, you know, record what we're working on, but then be able to also use this as a resource and going back and looking at, you know, what projects have I worked on over the year, what fabric was that on, that sort of thing, right? So I do enjoy this and I do refer back to my previous ones for details on projects. Okay, so I know that this year a big thing I want to do is be more mindful with my new starts. You know, last year I went from, I think I entered 2024 with like 11 whips, I think it was. I could pull up my book of days and know for sure, but it's tucked away right now. So I think I started with 11 and then I finished off the year with 29, I think it was, something like that. And so I have started a lot of projects. I'm really happy with a lot of my projects, but I want to, instead of starting a ton, focus on getting some really good progress on some of those projects. And I notice that seems to be an underlying theme with a lot of floss tubers right now. A lot of people are mentioning the same thing. So while I'm not doing a no buy, I am doing a lot of stitch from stash. So things that I already am working on or things that I have already kitted up and they're ready to go. Really any new purchases I'm trying to refrain from, just so I can really put that effort into what I already have and what I already love. So that being said, I have a new start for January 1st. This is something that I've been kitting up for the last year and a bit, actually. This is a Chatelaine, and I really, really wanted to start this, and I almost started it in April for my birthday. I decided not to, and so I've started it for January 1st. And so this is called Holland Springtime Garden Mandala. You can see that there. This is my first Chatelaine, and what I'm really excited for is, even though that this is a mandala, a lot of them, the reason why I the reason why I chose this one largely is because the 4 sides are different, and I think that, and I hear this too from a lot of stitchers, you know, they get one quarter of it done and then they have to do the other 3/4 and it's the same, and they struggle with that. And I know I would really struggle with that as well. So yeah, so what I ended up doing is I had bought the paper pattern as well as the PDF, and then I got the fabric, and then for the floss, now I have to tell you guys, I don't know if you can see on the back, I'll show you this here. This is all MPIs. These are all silks, and these are the beads. So I got the bead pack and I've got all the silks, but the MPIs, instead of just ordering all of them because it is a huge financial commitment, I'm ordering, you know, a section ahead of where I'm working. So what I didn't realize about this chatelaine is that this chatelaine was at one point done as a class, and which is great. So as I, you know, the paper copy doesn't show it, but the PDF, when I downloaded that and read through it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's broken down into different months, and every month there's a section you're going to work on. And I thought, that's fantastic. I'm going to do that. So this chatelaine will be done in 2025. It will take me 1 year to complete it, and I'm almost done January's assignment. So I would like to show you where I'm at and what I have left. So what I've decided to do is I'm starting in the very middle. I'm using a 28 count white lugana by Zweigart, and it's just plain white, nothing fancy. And this is where I've got to. And so this is the very center pond. Most of what is left there that is empty, I'm missing 2 colors that I have ordered and now have arrived, so I can stitch that. And then the only other part for January stitching assignment is another border, which is either 2 or 3 layers of a single stitch that go all the way around here. So that won't take very long at all. This was really fun to do. I really enjoyed the colors. I was a little bit disappointed that there's not a lot of specialty stitches yet. There's a few. There's some Jessica stitches right here. I don't know if you can really see those there. They're kind of rounded. Do you see that? And then there's a second little specialty stitch right there. So there's only 4 specialty stitches so far, and they were fun to do. They weren't new to me either. I've done those ones before. So yeah. I was talking with Samantha a couple weeks ago about specialty stitches, and she said, I can't remember if it was someone from her guild or someone she was watching on Flosstube, I can't remember, but they had said, you know, it bothers them a little bit that people refer to them as specialty stitches because they're really not specialty stitches. They're just stitches, and in calling them specialty stitches, it creates a bit of a stigma there, and a lot of people refrain from stitching them thinking, oh, I can't do that, oh, that's too crazy, that's, you know, intimidates me, it's hard, I don't know if I can learn a new skill. And the person she was talking about said, we can all do them. They're all, although it's a specialty stitch, is it really? Like we've all learned to do a cross stitch, which is an X, right? That's easy, we can do that. Well, some of these specialty stitches, they are just as easy. You know, the first time you may follow a diagram a little bit closer, but once you do it 4, 5, 10 times, you know, it's you're not referring to that diagram anymore, and you've learned a new stitch. So I kind of really like that, and I thought, is it a specialty stitch? Should we be, you know, calling those specialty stitches? I don't know. I think this other person's right. I think we should just refer to them as stitches because, you know, we can do this. There are some people I've talked to about the chatelaines and they love them, but they're not sure that they can do them because of all the specialty stitches. And you can absolutely do them, and you can absolutely stitch this. I just encourage you to dive in. We all have scrap fabric, right? You can just practice different stitches, and it's actually really fun to do it. The first time I kind of encountered that, I did some canvas work. It was a Laura J. Perin design, and I had so much fun doing it. Just like, you know, canvas work is like working on giant linen, right? You can really see the holes. It's a lot firmer, and you're stitching with like the pearl cotton, so it's a lot thicker, and you can really see your design coming to life. It really, it covers the canvas quite a bit quicker than cross stitch, and it was a really lovely experience. So if you're looking for something fun, or you want to start doing and learning some of these other stitches, canvas work is wonderful. Laura J. Perin Designs makes some really, really great patterns as well, so I highly recommend them. Okay, so that was my first one. I'm using all the Call for Floss, and like I said, 28 count white lugana. I chose the lugana just because with the stitches on there, wanting to make sure that everything is completely even, and we all know with linen, the linen threads on the warp and weft are not necessarily even. So I think for the chatelaine, it was important for me that it would be even. Now, if you are choosing to stitch your first chatelaine and you're sharing your progress, please tag me on Instagram. I would love to see it. I know there's quite a few other floss tubers that are stitching their first chatelaine as well, and I had a good laugh. I was watching Michaela with Cinematic Stitches. She shared hers, and her and Rebecca from Beck Stitches Everything are both doing the, is it the Roman? I think it's the Roman mandala. I'll put the name here if I'm incorrect. And their center pond has these fish that are all 1/1. So it's kind of putting them through the ringer just to get started, right? But it's going to be gorgeous. It looks absolutely lovely. And now their eyes just need to readjust back so that they can stitch. Apparently these fishes are a lot of work. So, okay, now my next project was something that I had shared previously. And this is it's a new start. So even though I was like, I'm not starting all the new things, I'm already starting all the new things. And it's something that I've already had kitted up, but and I'll tell you my reason for starting this. This is a Garden Club series by Blackbird Designs, and the reason why I've started this is because there's 12 designs, and I want to do one a month, and they're very small. They're about 4 by 4 inches. I was able to stitch this up in about a day and a half. It's not a start and a finish because I'm missing one of the colors. I don't have the walnut here. And so it's very close to a finish, but I'm just gonna tuck this one away until my threads come in from traditional stitches, and then I'll finish it off quite quickly. And I have to tell you, in the past, so if you're from Canada, in the past, I know a lot of stitchers, myself included, have not ordered from traditional stitches. I mean, we all have at one point, but they started getting a bad rap for their turnaround time, and you know, their stock on their website is not live stock, so, and there's no way for you to really know if something is in stock or not. And so what happens is you place your order, and then they send you an email confirming your order, and then you'll get an email at some point, like you get that automated, we've received your order, and then you will get a second email from one of the ladies that work there, usually about a week or so after, and they will, you know, confirm, we have this in stock, we need to order these things, do you want us to send it all together, what would you like us to do? And so previously when I've ordered and my mom have ordered, that process was like 4 to 6 months, and really lack of communication on their end. Well, I have to tell you that has changed. I ordered from them in November, and then I've ordered from them again just in the last week, and I don't know if it's just their turnaround time has improved or they have more staff, or I don't know what's happened on their end, but both times, you know, I get that email instead of the email from the lady working there being a month, or I think previously my mom was like 2.5 months. You know, I got that email within a few business days, maybe 4 days, and it was really good, quick service, so quite happy with it. it. So if in the past you have kind of refrained from ordering them, I do recommend that you give them another go. They do carry really, really great, linens, and they carry wonderful silks and really great patterns. They have a great selection, and I do recommend giving it another shot. I'm happy with them with the last two things. And of course, our dollar is so crappy that, it's good to kind of try and keep things more in Canada right now. All that to say, I have started this. Let me show you what I've done. So these are the colors here. They are all, I'm using the called for colors, and it is all by the Gentle Arts. Look at those colors. They're so pretty. And it's funny because when you look at things and I look at the pattern, I felt like that was a bluebird. It looks pretty blue on the screen. And when I'm stitching it, it is with gray. I'm using tin bucket and whatnot. So this is where I'm at. It's almost done. Look, you guys. Oh, and it looks so different on camera. You guys hear us saying this stuff, but this fabric here in person is really quite dark. And I looked at it and I thought, oh, I'm not really, it was a fun stitch, but I don't know how much of a fan I am of the stitch because I felt like it was quite different than what I was seeing in the pattern. So you can almost, right there, those colors are more true. See how that bird is quite gray and almost more of a silver? That's what it actually looks like in person. And when I look at, the pattern itself, the colors differed quite a bit, I thought, in my opinion. You see that there? There you go. So I'm gonna keep rolling with it because I feel like there are 11 other patterns, and some of these colors do carry over into the other pieces. So I think I'm just gonna stick with it. At one point I thought maybe I would switch out the gray for more of a blue, but I'm gonna leave it. There's all these Smyrna crosses here, and to be honest, you guys, I have to tell you, I stitched them in the wrong color. So there's two very, very similar colors here, and I just wasn't thinking, and I was stitching along, and let me show you the colors. I don't know if I'm going to change it, and you let me know if you think I should. In person, it's hard to see the difference. In camera, we might see a good difference. I don't know. Let's see. So one is, so it's supposed to be stitched in Cedar Mill Brown, and I stitched it in burlap. Okay. Oh, you see a huge difference on camera. Okay, so this is burlap. It looks very yellow. And this is Cedar Mill Brown. And in person, you can barely tell them apart. They look, in person, they look so similar. Wow, that looks so different here. So I was thinking I probably will rip these out and restitch it here. I thought if on camera you don't see a difference, I may leave it, but I think it's going to come out. So I'll rip those out. I'll stitch the basket with the walnut when it comes in. And then there's a little bit more basket here on walnut that needs to be done. And then that will be finished. So my goal is to do one of those every single month. And my plan is actually to stitch them all together. I'll put a picture here of what that's gonna look like. So you can sew together the row of 3, and then you do numbers 1 through 3, you attach through 4 through 6, and then 7 through 9. So that will be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, the next project that I worked on, I should tell you, that fabric was 32 count cocoa by Weeks Dye Works, and all the called for Gentle Art floss. Yeah, okay. The next thing I worked on was Inspired by Nature by Quaint Rose Needle Arts, and I'm really enjoying this pattern. There's quite a few Flosstubers that are stitching this right now, which is kind of inspiring me to pick it up and stitch a little bit more on it. For this one here, I am using all the called for flosses. So, you see the colors there. The Gentle Art, Classic Color Works. There's no DMC in this. My kids are home and they're creeping around. I can hear them. I was like, I'm filming a floss tube. Everyone needs to stay away for a bit. They can't help themselves, maybe. So this is where I'm at now. Now this is stitched on 40 count. It's called for 36 count, but I couldn't find it. 40 count seaweed. and Duxbury by Fox and Rabbit. It has been a lot of fun. I've talked lots about this before, about attaching those two pieces by hand, and then there's that decorative red stitch over top. And part of my 12 by 12, I stitched some of the bee skip there. And so what I ended up doing was I finished the bee skip, I did the door, I did underneath, and then I stitched all of these flowers, like up to here, I think it was. And those are really fun to do. Very nice colors in there. So that little area is done. There's, I think there's like 4 more bees or something kind of in this area. And then we get into a little design up top and then a tree. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this one. If I'm going to keep this out and work a little bit more on it, I might. I want to make some really good progress on my pieces this year. And I was trying to think, you know, if I did 10 good days per piece, in the course of the year, that would give all my pieces 10 days worth of work, and I think I could get some good progress. So this here I did 2 days, was able to do that. So we'll see. I may keep that out and work on it, but it's also, you know, when I'm filming for you guys, it's hard because I want to be able to share different things and not the same thing every week, right? So I might have something I'm carrying forward, like my Chatelaine is going to be a constant this year. And so I may choose something else here and there. Okay, my last piece that I've stitched on was Elizabeth Furness, 1836, and she's a Hands Across the Sea sampler. This is my first Hands Across the Sea sampler I've ever stitched. I started it last year. And Sarah with Lady Lugana, she has a new hashtag that she made, hashtag hats off to 2025, and it is to get, it's a stitch along to get everyone pulling out their hats projects and stitching on it. So I thought, oh, that's great. I started this one for Sampler September. And I did a full conversion to 103, which was a huge community effort. The back here, there's the Verswa, the Swaddle, and then there's the DMC. And a lot of their patterns do have 103 conversion, but for some reason, I guess this one's older and it just didn't have it. So it was a big community event to really get that conversion done, because I don't have an LNS where I live or even remotely close. And so a lot of people weighed in on that, looking at different, what do these colors look like in person? And it was a huge effort. So I think there's about 4 or 5 people that actually participated in making that conversion and assisting me in that. So I thank them so much for it. And so far the colors look excellent together. If you want the conversion, let me know. Just send me an email, I'll send it to you. I think I've sent it to about 20 people so far. So, and if you are stitching this, make sure if you're sharing it on Instagram, tag me, because I love to see it. So what I have done is working on the tree. Now, I have to tell you that this fabric is cockle shell. It's by Tabby Cat, and it was a surprise order. I called the addict and I said, just send me something good that's gonna go well with this. And so they did, and that's what I ended up getting, and I love it. It's very nice. But I chose to do 56 count, which is why I had to have the 103s and not the Swaddle. And I don't know why, but I've put this on the largest frame that I have. I don't know. I need to swap it with my my Chatelaine, should be switched out on this one. So I'll put a picture here of where I was before. And then I have put about 3 really good days into this. And this is where I'm at now. So look how tiny this is. It's so small, right? Overall, this whole thing on 56 count is going to be, I wanted to say 17 by 17. It's going to be smaller than that. I think it's going to be 13 by 13 inches. And so I have it in a 17 by 17 because that's what I had left, but it should be swapped up for something smaller. So I don't know if you can see there. So what I ended up doing was I did this branch and all these leaves, and then I did all these leaves and this branch up here. So I did all of that, which is quite a bit of stitching actually, but I have to tell you, I love it. And I'm stitching this, so let me show you. For comparison, I have a spool of thread here just so you can see the size. Okay, does that give you an idea of like Those are some tiny stitches. Look at that. I am stitching this with a magnifier because I can't see it. I mean, I can, but it's very slow. And it's like, I think that's right. And I have to say, I don't know what base Tabby Cat is using for their linen, but this 56 count, and maybe this is my first time on 56, there are definitely threads that are, I don't want to say it's a slub because it's not so much a slub, but definitely thicker and thinner. And so you get a really thick piece and then you get like 4 really, really thin pieces. And so, you know, I did run into with this girl's belly here, you do see it looks like I've kind of messed up on the stitching there, but I haven't. This is the fabric, almost like a slub in there. You can kind of see here, there's a couple of them, right? I mean, it could be really small slub maybe, but it's more of a thicker piece of thread that kind of, it does run the whole length and it is thicker. And yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it for sure. I love that it's 56 count. I don't know if all 56 might have threads that are a little bit larger like that. I don't have anything to compare it to. Audrey, if you're watching, I'm sure you could let me know because you do stitch a lot on the higher count. So really loving this. I honestly will probably keep stitching on it. I'm really, really enjoying it so far. Once the tree is done, then I can go up at the top. There's a little frame with her name in age 13, a verse, and then there's the border. So I've gone ahead and I've ordered Swatsurfine for the verse because it's all 1/1, which I'm dreading, obviously on a 56 count, but we'll see how it goes. It might be better than I think. I don't know. We'll see. I do have to say, when I'm stitching that, one of my viewers, Noelle, she was instrumental as well in creating that conversion, going down to her LNS and just took endless pictures, different lighting, you know, pulling out different colors that I had tentatively selected, and then what those look like in person. She spent a lot of time down there. And then she so kindly sent me this gift, and I'm really enjoying this. So this is, it's stamped with the attic on the side, and it is Heartstring Samplery, the boardroom made these. And this is a wooden container for your spools of thread. And then I just pull what I need off of it, snip it, and I keep stitching. And the top has a little magnet for your needle to rest on. And then this opens up so you can easily load it with what you want. It's double-sided. And so she sent a few of those, and I've loaded that project up on this. And I do really, really enjoy it. So thank you so much, Noelle. I really, really love that. And it's something I know I'll use for a long time. So thank you. Okay, so for my cross stitch, I think that's everything I had to share. If you guys are stitching on a Hands Across the Sea, make sure you, you know, if you're posting on Instagram, use the hashtag HatsOff2025. It'd be really cool to see what everyone is stitching. And yeah, that would be nice for sure. So the other thing I wanted to mention was a new floss tuber. Manvir with Mama Bear Stitching has created her first floss tube, and I'm super excited for this. So Manvir is someone that I've met over Flosstube, and then I've met her in person. She lives locally with me, and she's the one that organizes stitchers at the library in Surrey once a month. And so she started her first floss tube. What I'll do is link it for you guys. You should go check it out because she's an amazing stitcher. She's got a nice big chatelaine on the go, as well as she loves you know, Bella Filipina, Mirabilia, that sort of thing. So definitely go check her out. I did really enjoy watching her video, and it's nice to, you know, see someone you know making a floss tube, right? It means a lot when you can watch someone and actually connect that with, you know, the background of knowing them in person. So definitely, if you're looking for a new floss tuber, go check her out. She was wonderful. Okay, so for Community Corner, a couple things. So if you are participating in Canada Swaps too, I hope you guys got your information in. I know Karen the Stitching Owl has just sent out everybody's emails, so if you're participating, make sure that you've gone ahead and checked out your inbox, and you should have an email assigning you who you're sending your swap to, as well as don't want to say the rules, but I guess the guidelines for this time around. So the recommendation is still that your piece is as small as 6 by 6 or smaller. And we've also included the stitcher's favorite color. So you get to make sure that their favorite color is in your stitch somewhere. And then it's also recommended to choose a Canadian designer, though it's not mandatory, it is recommended. So I hope you guys all have that information in your inbox and you're ready to kind of select your patterns and get going. I'm very excited. I have a couple ideas in mind of what I would like to do. I don't know who I have the name of the lady I'm sending to, but I don't know who she is personally. So I'm going to see if I can find her on Instagram and see, you know, what sort of style she is stitching, and maybe I can make something that kind of keeps with her particular style or likes. So I'm excited for that. The other thing is Stitches at the Library. So Manvir, Mama Bear Stitching, she has organized our next stitching meetup, which is the 25th of January at Surrey Public Library, which we've mentioned before is nice and central. It's on the SkyTrain route. There's really good, you know, just you can get buses to get there. There's good options for people from all over the Lower Mainland to join. It's a nice central location. We are meeting on Saturday, January 25th from 1:15 to 4:15. And then she's just confirming the date for the February meetup. So if you guys are able to make it, highly recommend you pop in. Even if you can't stay for the whole thing, just pop in to meet everybody, say hi. It's really nice to see what everyone's working on, and quite often people will bring a few pieces too. So it's a bit of a show and tell, which is really fun to do and engage that way and create some new connections. Unfortunately, I just realized I double booked. I am hosting some company that weekend, so I won't be at that one, but I'll definitely be at the one in February. I've already penciled it in my calendar and booked that day off from everything else, so I'll be there for sure. Then I have my Flosstubersity. Like I said, next week I'm going to be releasing a video on how to stitch faster and more efficiently, so stay tuned for that. I think that will be a good one, and it's highly requested. There's a lot of people that have been asking for that. Okay, so before the giveaway, I've got one more thing to share, and that is what I have been knitting. So Megan, the Seattle Stitcher, she made a pair of slippers, but prior to Christmas, I don't know if it was a Christmas gift or not, and I thought, oh, those look quick and easy. You know, a lot of my knitting, I tend to do like fingerling weight. So if you're not a knitter, that is a really thin weight of a yarn, which means it takes a lot more stitches to you know, make your project, and it takes a lot more work and time and yardage. So when you can have a project that, you know, uses a larger yarn, it knits up a lot quicker and more rewarding, more, you know, it's faster, right? So what I did end up stitching, I wrote down the details so I wouldn't forget, is a free pattern. It's called My Favorite Home Slippers by Woolen Tales. It's free on Ravelry, and I'll link it down below. And like I said, Megan, the Seattle Stitcher, if you're interested in seeing her colors, I think she did color blocking, if I remember correctly. You can go check her out as well. I'll link her Instagram is where she had posted it. So these I made for my daughter, and I literally took them off her feet because I was like, I need to show those. She's like, there's dog hair on them. So that's fine, I'm gonna show what I knit. So these are the slippers. They are color blocked because of the yarn that I chose. And they're just super simple. You knit a flat garter stitch for, I think it was like 36 rows or something. And then you join it in the round and you just knit, and then you just knit up the toe and close with a Kitchener stitch. And so it's a super, super easy knit. You can do one slipper in one evening. And so for the yarn, typically I buy my yarn, like nice yarn from the yarn store, you know, but this one I was just at Michael's and I thought I can just pick something up that is whatever, right? Like I want it to be acrylic blend so that I can, you know, it's a bit more hardy on the feet, right? 100% wool in a slipper is not the best idea because it will wear through faster, so you want to blend, but it's hard to get a good blend in a worsted weight, if that makes sense. So I went and I just bought, I saved the label, this Karen Cakes Yarn Inspirations, and I have another one on the go, but this is what it looks like. It's like a big yarn cake. I was gonna say ball, but a yarn cake. And yeah, it's so this one is a worsted weight, or they like to go by a medium weight. They use a number 4 in theirs. And so this is a 80% acrylic, 20% wool. It is, the color is buttercream, and it's number 17003. You can kind of see the colors there. So it's all kind of, it's got a little bit of like a purpley mauve. It has this natural brown, a cream, a light browny, like really it's like a light taupe. It's not really a gray, and then a pink. And so I'm making my next one as well, which you can see there's got a little bit of the purple, and then I'm into the pink, and then I guess the toe's gonna have a little bit of this gray, and then I'll make the other one. So you can see how it just kind of knits up nice and flat. And then at the end, you sew the heel up, which is pretty easy. It uses the size US 6 or 4.0 needle. And yeah, it's an easy, really, really easy stitch. And so right on the pattern, she does also link tutorials for, what was it? The Kitchener Stitch, a Purl Soho Kitchener Stitch tutorial, and a Purl Soho mattress stitch to stitch up the back. So if you want to do this, it's a free pattern. You know, even for a beginner stitcher, it's easy. And then those tutorials are easy to find. They're great. They're clear tutorials, easy to do. You just need like a darning, like a tapestry needle to do that. Yeah, so recommend that for sure. And then, so now that that has happened and I've stitched that, you know, my son was like, oh, I want a pair too. So now I've gone ahead and I have actually ordered some better yarns. So my cousin, his wife Tara, she owns the Yarn Habit, and it's actually really exciting news for her. So on Instagram this last week, they're from Alberta, and she had shared that, you know, she was like a Canadian indie yarn dyer dyeing out of their home, and then they're in Grand Prairie, Alberta, and then she opened something really cool called the Makers Market, which is just what it sounds like, right? Where it's a market where they have vendors can all lease in an area of like wall space or table space, and they can sell their product. There's also space you could sell her yarn. They did classes, you know, events, that sort of thing. And I wish we had something like that here in the Lower Mainland. I think it's really cool and an awesome way for like makers to showcase their work as well, right? And then people that appreciate, you know, purchasing gifts like that for people, which I love to do. It's a great like one-stop shop for all of that and inspiration and whatnot. But she just shared that one of their other local stores is closing that sells yarn, so she is opening up a yarn store, and which is kind of the dream, right? So I'm so happy to hear that this is happening for her. You know, finally being able to, you know, the Makers Market, an amazing dream in itself, but to actually be able to, you know, open your dedicated yarn shop is, you know, it's something only a lot of people can dream of. So congratulations, Tara. I think it's so very cool that you've been able to achieve that. And in supporting that, I've ordered some more yarn. So she had a really cool colorway called Intergalactic Planetary, which is like, it's a Beastie Boys song. And with her colorways for her yarn, she tends to choose a theme from, you know, she had a line of Hogwarts colors, a line of Yellowstone colors, a line of Bridgerton colors. You know, she kind of will choose a theme, and she'll do maybe like 6 different colors for each theme, right? So highly recommend it. She's got some beautiful options out there if you guys are interested. I'll link her below in the description box. So I've ordered a couple more color options from her as well, and I'll be continuing to make these because they're super easy and my kids want them, so why not, right? Okay, let's move on to our very last thing, and that is the giveaways. Now, I have 2 giveaways for cross stitch patterns of things when I did a whip parade and I gave away some patterns. The winners, they didn't contact me back for them. So it's been a couple of months, and I want to go ahead and continue to pass these patterns along. So this one here, this is Owl Forest Embroidery, and this one here is called, I don't know, Christmas birds. It's very similar to another one of their patterns. This is a fun one. So they had one called, I think, Red Cardinals or something like that, and it's similar, but it's not quite as large. I think it kind of comes to like here. and like that. It has a lot of the same motifs in that area, but this one does have more. I made this into a pillow. Maybe I'll put a picture of that here. This is really fun, and for that one previous video, this one actually had the most entries. A lot of people were really excited for it. So yeah, it does, you know, I bought the kit with their hand-dyed floss, but it does come with a DMC conversion as well. So if you're interested in this one, please make a comment and use the word owl, and then I will draw for that on my next video. I will ship that anywhere in North America. You need to be 18 years old. You need to like and subscribe to the video. And yeah, I'll draw for that next week. The next one I have is Amish Quilt Sampler by Told in a Garden. It's in a bag. I don't really want to take it out, but I don't want to show you the pattern, so I'm gonna put my hand over part of it. There you go. This was a fun one to stitch. So the colors are really good as well. I really enjoyed stitching that one. You got the quilters at the bottom. There's a big quilt in the center. You've got some wheat. Those were fun with some different stitches. This pattern was neat because it did also say you could use satin stitches for all the quilts. If I can just go like this so you can see. These are all different quilt blocks in here, and they recommended using some satin stitches, which I didn't do because at the time I tried and it just seemed like it was pulling wrong, and I like things to be a little bit maybe too taut. So I think that was just a skill issue. I think you could definitely do it yourself. So if you're interested in that one, you can use the word quilt, and I will draw for that as well in my next video. That was a very fun one to do, and easy because it called for a lugana, I think, 28 count mushroom lugana or something like that. Okay, the best for last. So where I live, we're in the country, and there's a lot of farms really close to us. And there's this wonderful farm called Kensington Prairie Farm. I have purchased their stuff before. So if you're in the Lower Mainland and you've been to Knit City, they go and they have a table there. I've purchased their products as well as their fiber. Now, with them, it's an alpaca farm. Alpaca is very, very soft. So what they do is they raise the animals, they shear. I think they have a shearing weekend this weekend. It's going to be past for you guys. I'm recording it on a Friday, and I think this weekend they do a big shearing event. They do a lot of events at this farm too, and tours as well. So if it's something you guys are interested in, you can definitely look them up. Kensington Prairie Farm. You can do like school tours there. Your family can go check it out. They do special dinners. They do markets. They do events. It's definitely a neat like community farm. And so they had sent me this shawl. It's a hand-painted alpaca shawl. This is their logo, Kensington Prairie. Okay. And this shawl, I don't know if they had a name for it. It's called the Signature Royal Baby Alpaca Poncho. And it's made out of 100% royal alpaca. There are a few different ways to wear this. There's a picture here kind of depicting 4 different ways that you can wear this shawl. And this shawl here is hand painted, and it's blue. And it's gorgeous. Look at that. And it is so soft. They do have buttons down one edge, so you can kind of wear it over your shoulder like a poncho and just let it drop. It is hand wash only. Very soft, very warm. Of course, alpaca is very warm. And it's hand painted, which is really cool. So if you guys are interested in this and you would like to enter the giveaway, let's use, I think they called it a poncho. Yes, let's use the word poncho. The value of this here is $220. So it is a very nice product. They do have a wonderful shop online as well as in person that you can go shop, and all of their stuff is very high quality. It's just gorgeous and so soft. It's not itchy, it's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. So I definitely recommend you guys enter the giveaway for this one. You don't want to miss this for sure. I will draw for this on my next video. Same rules apply, like, subscribe, and definitely tune in for the next video to catch the winner. I will ship this anywhere in North America as well. All right, so I think that is all that I have for you guys today. I thank you so very much for tuning in. You know, it's funny when I look to what I'm doing for the rest of January, I think I'm going to continue on the sampler route. I'm really feeling my samplers right now. I want to stitch on some Dutch Beauty. I'm going to finish up my January assignment for Chatelaine. Hopefully my floss comes in and I can wrap this one up as well. I would like to start my next one, number 2, in February, which would be nice to keep on track for that. And then I'm not sure what I'm going to choose for my 3rd and 4th project there, whether or not that might be still my Elizabeth Furness, and then maybe add one other new one in there other than Dutch Beauties, and a different whip I have, just for, you know, just for you guys, so you're not seeing all the same projects in a couple weeks. Thank you so much. Next week will be a Flosstubersity, and then the week after that I'll film a regular Flosstube. Have a wonderful day. Happy stitching. Bye for now.